Imagine a country with fewer people than San Francisco, recording 62% economic growth in a single year. The fastest-growing economy on Earth. A nation transformed overnight from an agricultural backwater into one of the most explosive wealth-generating machines the world has ever seen. This is Guyana in 2025. The people you're about to meet aren't just rich. They are the architects, legends, and controversies that define this extraordinary moment in history. Some built empires through cricket and politics, others through Hollywood and diplomacy. And then there are those whose fortunes involve billions of dollars, international sanctions, criminal charges, and a political movement nobody saw coming. Today, we're counting down the top 10 richest people in Guyana for 2025. By the time we reach number 1, everything you thought you knew about wealth and influence in the Caribbean will be shattered. Let's begin. Number 10. Donald Ramotar Donald Ramotar was born October 22, 1950. An economist who joined the People's Progressive Party at 17, he spent decades rising through the ranks. In 1997, after Dr. Chetty Jagan's death, Ramotar became General Secretary. Then in 2011, he became president. From 2011 to 2015, he championed infrastructure and education reform. His presidency was turbulent. In 2014, facing a hostile parliament, he controversially prorogued the National Assembly. When the PPP lost the 2015 elections, he stepped aside gracefully. Today, at 74, he remains a respected PPP elder statesman, watching as Guyana transforms into something unimaginable when he first entered politics. Net worth, $850,000. Number 9. Sir Clive Lloyd, born August 31, 1944, in Georgetown. Clive Lloyd's father died when he was 14, forcing him to work as a hospital clerk. A childhood eye injury required him to wear thick glasses for life. None of it stopped him. Standing 6'5" with shoulders that became legendary, Lloyd developed into a batsman of terrifying power. But what made him exceptional was his mind. In 1974, as West Indies captain, he revolutionized cricket. His team went 27 matches undefeated, including 11 straight wins. He pioneered the 4-fast bowler strategy that dominated for decades. The 1975 World Cup final was his masterpiece. With the West Indies struggling at 50 for 3, Lloyd scored 102 off 85 balls, hooking Dennis Lillee for 6. The match ended at 8:40 p.m., the longest day ever at Lord's. He led them to another World Cup victory in 1979. Over his career, 75 15 test runs, 70 test sixes, first West Indian to earn 100 international caps. Knighted in 2020, inducted into the ICC Hall of Fame in 2009, he gave the Caribbean something priceless: unity and pride. Net worth, $1 million, but his true wealth, generations of Caribbean cricketers inspired by his legacy. Now, before we continue with number 8, I need to ask you something. Are you enjoying this journey through Guyana's most powerful people? Because we're just getting started, and the stories ahead are going to blow your mind. If you want to see more content like this, exploring the hidden stories of wealth and power across South America and the Caribbean, then do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now. We're on a mission to reach 20,000 subscribers, and every single one of you brings us closer to that goal. And here's the thing. When you subscribe, you're not just helping a channel grow. You're joining a community of people who are curious about the world, who want to understand the forces that shape nations, and who appreciate stories told with depth and detail. So subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's keep going. Because trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. Number 8. Professor Rupert Roopnaraine. From the cricket pitch, we move to the corridors of academia and the front lines of political activism. Professor Rupert Roopnaraine was born on January 31, 1943, in Georgetown, Guyana. Unlike many on this list who pursued wealth through business or sports, Roopnaraine dedicated his life to something different: ideas. As an academic, he became one of the Caribbean's most respected literary scholars. He taught at the University of Guyana, Cornell University in the United States, and several other prestigious institutions. His work on Caribbean literature and comparative studies earned him recognition across the academic world. But Roopnaraine wasn't content to remain in the ivory tower. He believed that intellectuals had a responsibility to engage with the political struggles of their time. This conviction led him to co-found and later lead the Working People's Alliance, a political party that challenged the established order in Guyana. His political journey reached its peak when he served as Minister of Education from 2015 to 2017 under President David Granger. In that role, he worked to reform Guyana's educational system, pushing for greater access and improved standards. Today, Professor Roopnaraine is recognized not just as a politician, but as one of Guyana's foremost public intellectuals, a man who wrote books, shaped minds, challenged governments, and ultimately served in one. His estimated net worth is $5 million. Number 7. Shridath Ramphal. Some people serve their country. Sir Shridath Ramphal served the entire world. Born on October 3, 1928, in New Amsterdam, British Guyana, Shridath Ramphal, affectionately known as Sonny, would go on to become one of the most influential diplomats of the 20th century. His rise began in Guyana, where he served as Minister of Foreign Affairs from 1972 to 1975, navigating complex territorial disputes and establishing his reputation as a brilliant negotiator. But his true impact came on the global stage. In 1975, Ramphal was unanimously elected as the second Secretary General of the Commonwealth of Nations. He was the first person from a developing country to hold this position, and he held it longer than anyone else in history, serving for 15 years until 1990. During his tenure, Ramphal transformed the Commonwealth from a post-colonial talking shop into a genuine force for justice. His greatest battle was against apartheid in South Africa, while leaders like Margaret Thatcher resisted sanctions against the racist regime. Ramphal worked tirelessly to isolate South Africa diplomatically and economically. He established the Eminent Persons Group that met with Nelson Mandela in prison. His moral leadership helped build the international pressure that eventually brought apartheid to its knees. Mandela himself said of Ramphal, "He is one of those men who have become famous because, in their fight for human justice, they have chosen the whole world as their theater." Beyond apartheid, Ramphal championed the interests of small nations, environmental sustainability, and global economic equity. He served as Chancellor of the University of Guyana, the University of the West Indies, and Warwick University in the United Kingdom. At the age of 92, during the COVID-19 pandemic, he became the first lawyer to appear virtually before the International Court of Justice, representing Guyana in its border dispute with Venezuela. Sir Shridath Ramphal passed away on August 30th, 2024, at the age of 95. His death marked the end of an era, but his legacy lives on in the institutions he built and the principles he defended. His estimated net worth at the time of his passing was $8 million. But again, how do you measure the wealth of a man who helped free Nelson Mandela? Number 6. David Arthur Granger. From global diplomacy, we return to Guyana and a man who served his country in both military uniform and presidential sash. David Granger was born on July 15, 1945, in Georgetown. His path to leadership began not in politics but in the military, where he rose to become a brigadier and commander of the Guyana Defense Force. Military service taught Granger discipline, strategy, and the importance of security in a region where borders were contested and threats were real. After retiring from the military, he served as National Security Advisor, bringing his expertise to bear on protecting Guyana's sovereignty. But Granger had larger ambitions. He entered politics and, in 2015, led the APNUFC coalition to victory over the incumbent PPP government. At 70 years old, he became Guyana's 9th president. His presidency coincided with one of the most momentous developments in Guyanese history. In 2015, ExxonMobil announced the discovery of massive offshore oil reserves. Guyana's destiny was about to change forever, and Granger was the man in charge during those pivotal early years. His tenure wasn't without controversy. The 2020 elections were fiercely contested, with months of uncertainty before the results were finally certified and Granger's party conceded defeat. Today, the former president remains a respected figure in certain political circles, a military man who served his country in multiple capacities across 6 decades. His estimated net worth is $20 million. Number 5. Bharrat Jagdeo. Now, we enter different territory. Because the man at number 5 isn't just wealthy, he's arguably the most powerful political figure in Guyana today. And his story is inseparable from the oil boom that has transformed everything. Bharrat Jagdeo was born on January 23, 1964, in Unity Village, a small community in Guyana's Demerara Maheka region. His early life gave no indication of the heights he would reach. He traveled to the Soviet Union to study economics at Patrice Lumumba People's Friendship University in Moscow, returning to Guyana in 1990 with a master's degree and a vision for his country's economic future. His rise through the PPP was meteoric. Junior finance minister in 1993, senior finance minister in 1995, and then in 1999, at just 35 years old, Bharrat Jagdeo became president of Guyana. He was the youngest head of state in the nation's history. For 12 years, from 1999 to 2011, Jagdeo led Guyana through a remarkable transformation. He slashed the national debt from over 900% of GDP to under 50%. He reformed the tax system. He invested in education, healthcare, and infrastructure. He became a global voice on climate change, winning the United Nations Champion of the Earth Award in 2010 for his innovative low-carbon development strategy. When his term ended, Jagdeo did something unprecedented in Guyanese politics. He respected the 2-term limit he himself had signed into law and stepped down. But he didn't disappear. In 2020, after a disputed election that took 5 months to resolve, the PPP returned to power under President Irfan Ali. And who was appointed vice president? Bharrat Jagdeo. Today, Jagdeo is widely considered the power behind the throne, the strategic mastermind managing Guyana's explosive oil-driven growth. ExxonMobil and its partners are pumping hundreds of thousands of barrels of oil daily from offshore wells. The country's GDP is growing at rates that seem almost fictional, and Jagdeo is at the center of every major decision. His estimated net worth is $22 million, but his real currency is influence. And in Guyana today, no one has more of it. Number 4. Letitia Wright. From the world of politics and power, we now turn to something completely different. Glamour, Hollywood, and a young woman from Georgetown who became a global superstar. Letitia Wright was born on October 31, 1993, in Georgetown, Guyana. When she was just 7 years old, her family moved to London, England. It was there, watching the film Aquila and the Bee, that young Letitia discovered her calling. Seeing Keke Palmer on screen, she realized that someone who looked like her could be a star. She enrolled at the Identity School of Acting at 16 and began pursuing her dream. The early years were difficult. She's spoken openly about struggling with depression, taking a break from acting, and finding her way back through faith and determination. Her persistence paid off. Small television roles led to bigger opportunities. A critically acclaimed performance in the drama Urban Hymn earned her recognition from BAFTA as a breakthrough Brit. Her haunting turn in the Black Mirror episode Black Museum earned her an Emmy nomination. And then came Wakanda. In 2018, Letitia Wright appeared as Shuri in Marvel's Black Panther. The film wasn't just a movie, it was a cultural phenomenon. It grossed over $1.3 billion worldwide. It was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, the first superhero film ever to receive that honor. And Letitia's portrayal of the brilliant, witty princess and tech genius became one of the most beloved elements of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. She won the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Breakthrough Performance. She shared a Screen Actors Guild Award with her castmates. In 2019, she won the BAFTA Rising Star Award, but her journey was far from over. In 2022, following the tragic death of Chadwick Boseman, Letitia stepped into the spotlight in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, carrying the emotional weight of the sequel on her shoulders. Through it all, she's never forgotten where she came from. The University of Guyana awarded her an honorary doctorate. President Irfan Ali personally invited her to visit her homeland. She's spoken movingly about how Guyana remains in the fabric of everything she does. Letitia Wright's estimated net worth is $25 million. From a little girl in Georgetown to a princess of Wakanda. That's the power of dreams. Number 3. Shivnarine Chanderpaul. We return now to the world of cricket. But while Sir Clive Lloyd was a captain, a leader, a man who inspired through charisma and power, the man at number 3 was something different entirely. Shivnarine Chanderpaul was a survivor. Born on August 16, 1974, in Unity Village, Guyana, Chanderpaul made his international debut in 1994. Nobody expected him to become a legend. He had an unusual stance at the crease, facing the bowler with both feet pointing toward them in what was often described as a crab-like position. Coaches would have told him to change it. He didn't. Early in his career, injuries plagued him. Some dismissed him as a hypochondriac. Then, in 2000, doctors removed a floating piece of bone from his foot. Suddenly, everything changed. What followed was one of the most remarkable careers in cricket history. For 21 years, Shivnarine Chanderpaul stood at the crease for the West Indies. He became the anchor when the team was struggling, the last line of defense when wickets were falling around him. He batted over 1,000 minutes without being dismissed multiple times in his career. The legendary Australian bowler Shane Warne said you needed a crowbar to get Chanderpaul away from the crease. By the time he retired in 2016, his numbers were staggering. 11,867 test runs, the most ever by a West Indian player. 30 test centuries, equaling the legendary Donald Bradman. He finished his test career unbeaten 49 times, a testament to his determination to never give away his wicket. He held 17 not-out centuries in test cricket, more than even Sachin Tendulkar. He won the ICC Cricketer of the Year award in 2008. He was inducted into the ICC Hall of Fame in 2022. Guyana awarded him the Cacique's Crown of Honor, the second highest award in the nation's order of service. And in a testament to the way cricket runs through his blood, his son Shivnarine Chanderpaul now plays test cricket for the West Indies, following in his father's footsteps. Shivnarine Chanderpaul's estimated net worth is $40 million, built over 2 decades of grinding, fighting, surviving, and never, ever giving up. Number 2. Nazar estimated net worth is $40 million. Built over 2 decades of grinding, fighting, surviving, and never, ever giving up. Nazar Mohamed was born on March 27, 1953. Unlike the cricketers and politicians we've discussed, his path to wealth began in the shadows of informal commerce. He started as a money changer in Guyana, navigating the complex world of currency exchange in a developing. The United States Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control announced sanctions against Nazar Mohamed, his son Azruddin, and their company. The allegations were explosive. According to U.S. Authorities, between 2019 and 2023, Mohamed's enterprise omitted more than 10,000 kilograms of gold from import and export declarations, avoiding over $50 million in duty taxes owed to the government of Guyana. The United States Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control announced sanctions against Nazar Mohamed, his son Azruddin, and their company. The allegations were explosive, according to U.S. authorities. Between 2019 and 2023, Mohamed's enterprise omitted more than 10,000 kilograms of gold from import and export declarations, avoiding over $50 million in duty taxes owed to the government of Guyana. The U.S. alleged that the company had bribed customs officials to falsify documents and facilitate illicit gold shipments. A senior government official, Ms. Thomas, was also sanctioned for allegedly using her position to benefit Mohamed's enterprise in exchange for cash and expensive gifts. The sanctions were imposed under the Global Magnitsky Human Rights Accountability Act, which targets perpetrators of serious corruption around the world. They effectively barred the Mohameds from the U.S. financial system and froze any assets they held under American jurisdiction. Then, in October 2025, things escalated further. A U.S. federal indictment was unsealed, charging Nazar and Azruddin Mohamed with 11 counts including gold smuggling, wire fraud, and money laundering. Each charge carries a potential maximum penalty of 20 years in prison. At the end of October 2025, both Nazar and Azruddin Mohamed were arrested in Georgetown by Guyanese police in connection with the U.S. indictment. The Attorney General's office indicated they would be processed for potential extradition. Nazar Mohamed has maintained that he made his money legitimately, but the cloud of these allegations hangs over everything. His estimated net worth, despite the legal troubles, remains approximately $1 billion, which brings us to our final entry, the most controversial figure in Guyana today. A man who went from sanctioned business. Azruddin Mohamed, born on March 1, 1987, is the son of Nazar Mohamed. Together with his father, he runs Mohamed's enterprise, the gold trading conglomerate that made the family billionaires. But while his father built the business, Azruddin became its public face, diplomatic giants and political heavyweights. But none of them prepared you for this. Azruddin Mohamed, born on March 1, 1987, is the son of Nazar Mohamed. Together with his father, he runs Mohamed's enterprise, the gold trading conglomerate that made the family billionaires. But while his father built the business, Azruddin became its public face. And what a public face it is. Azruddin Mohamed lives a lifestyle that most Guyanese can only dream of. He's regularly photographed with a fleet of luxury vehicles that includes a Lamborghini Aventador, a Rolls-Royce, a Ferrari, and multiple Range Rovers. His social media presence showcases a world of wealth and glamour that seems almost surreal in a country where many still struggle with basic infrastructure. He's also known for his philanthropy, appearing at charity events, supporting community initiatives, and cultivating an image as a generous benefactor to the less fortunate. But it was the U.S. sanctions in June 2024 that truly catapulted Azruddin Mohamed into the national spotlight. The same allegations that ensnared his father named him as the person who ultimately took over Mohamed's enterprise and allegedly orchestrated the tax evasion and bribery schemes. The U.S. Treasury was explicit. They designated Azruddin for providing financial, material, and technological support for corruption, including bribery and natural resource extraction-related corruption. His drag racing team, Team Mohamed's racing team, and the subsidiary Hattie's World were also sanctioned. For most people, his campaign drew massive crowds. He traveled to Amerindian communities in the interior. He promised to reduce taxes, increase government wages, and potentially renegotiate the terms of Guyana's deal with ExxonMobil to secure better returns for bribery and natural resource extraction-related corruption. His drag racing team, Team Mohamed's racing team, and the subsidiary Hattie's World were also sanctioned. For most people, his campaign drew massive crowds. He traveled to Amerindian communities in the interior. He promised to reduce taxes, increase government wages, and potentially renegotiate the terms of Guyana's deal with ExxonMobil to secure better returns for the country. The establishment was stunned. The U.S. ambassador to Guyana, Nicole Thuriot, publicly warned that having a U.S.-sanctioned person in government would severely damage diplomatic and economic relations between the two countries. She stated directly that the U.S. would have to ensure they didn't work with him. It didn't matter. When the votes were counted in the September 2025 elections, Wynne came in second place, not third, second, with 24% of the popular vote and 16 seats in the National Assembly. Azruddin Mohamed's party had replaced the decades-old APNU coalition as Guyana's primary opposition. It was a political earthquake. Wynne captured Region 10, a stronghold of the APNU for generations, by a margin that stunned analysts. The party's message of economic populism had resonated with Guyanese who felt left behind by the oil boom. But the legal storm continued to gather. In October 2025, the U.S. indictment was unsealed. 11 charges: gold smuggling, wire fraud, money laundering, maximum potential penalties of 20 years per count. On October 31, 2025, Azruddin Mohamed was arrested in Georgetown. He was expected to appear in court on local tax evasion charges related to the Guyana Revenue Authority. The Attorney General's office signaled readiness to process any extradition request from the United States. Gold smuggling, wire fraud, money laundering, maximum potential penalties of 20 years per count. On October 31, 2025, Azruddin Mohamed was arrested in Georgetown. He was expected to appear in court on local. He's expected to become leader of the opposition when Parliament reopens, making him one of the most powerful figures in the country, even as he faces potential extradition to the United States. His estimated net worth is $1.5 billion, making him not just the richest person in Guyana, but a symbol of everything complicated about this nation's transformation. The explosive wealth of the oil boom, the questions about who benefits and who gets left, making him not just the richest person in Guyana, but a symbol of everything complicated about this nation's transformation. The explosive wealth of the oil boom, the questions about who benefits and who gets left, and there you have it. The 10 richest and most powerful people shaping Guyana in 2025. From the cricket pitch to the corridors of global diplomacy. From Hollywood red carpets to the gold fields of the interior. From presidential palaces to federal indictments. This is Guyana in its moment of transformation. A nation sitting on 11 billion barrels of oil. A country whose GDP has grown faster than anywhere else on Earth. A place where fortunes are being made, legacies are being built, and the future is being written in real time. Now I want to hear from you. Which name on this list surprised you the most? Was it the Hollywood star who never forgot her homeland? The cricket legend who defied every coaching manual? Or the sanctioned billionaire who went from facing arrest to leading the opposition? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to know what you think. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. We're building something special here, a community of people who care about the stories behind the headlines, who want to understand how power and wealth really work in places the mainstream media ignores. We're pushing toward 20,000 subscribers, and with your help, we're going to get there. Hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video, and share this with someone who needs to hear these stories.